Okay, so this is a tutorial I'm going to do on the 2x2 cube, and I know there are already plenty of tutorials out there. I decided to put a little new spin on this tutorial, do it in a kind of different way. I'm going to show you two algorithms that you need to know in order to solve this. I'm going to show those algorithms while the cube is solved to show you how those algorithms affect the pieces. And there's also a third optional algorithm that I personally use, and that algorithm is applied in other puzzles that I use. So since I already know it, I apply it here as well. Technically, you don't have to learn this third algorithm if you're a beginner, but as you become more advanced, it is good to know as well. Okay, so let's begin. So the first algorithm you're going to need to know is, first you need to understand what a 2x2 is. 2x2 is a cube that consists of only corners. It has no centers, it has no edges. All of these are corners. It has 8 corners, and it turns on 3 axes in basically 90-degree increments, you see? Like this, and like this. So the first thing you need to know is the names of the turns. And so let's say I'm holding it this way with red on top, blue facing me, white to my right. So if I hold it like this, I hold it steady with my left hand, and I make a right turn like this, up. And when I'm turning this, I'm turning it in a clockwise direction. So this is called an R move. And if I bring it back down, which is counterclockwise, it's an RI move. That's the notation that's used when solving twisty puzzles. So once again, this is R, and this is RI. Now, if we move the top as such in a clockwise fashion, it's U. U is basically from up, so this is a U turn. And if you turn it back, it's a UI turn. So once again, this is U, UI. Now if you bring the left one up, while holding the right side steady, we bring the left up. This is counterclockwise, so this is actually an LI turn. And if we bring it back down, this is an L turn. So once again, LI, L. And then we have the front face. And so if we turn it this way you could clearly see that it's a clockwise turn, and it's an F turn, F for front. And if we turn it the other way, it's an FI turn. And same with the bottom, which is D for down. If we turn it this way, it's a clockwise turn from the, if you would be looking at it from the bottom, and that's a D turn. And if you turn it back like that, that's a DI. And if we turn it again in that direction, in the counterclockwise direction, it's a DI. And if we return it this way, that's a D turn. And the last face we have is the back face. So if we hold the front face steady and we turn the back one, and once again, we turn it that way, that's a B turn. We turn it back, that's a BI. You rarely use the back facing algorithm, so sometimes you may need to use it. Also important to know, if we hold it hold it steady on the left side, and we do to turn this right face 2 times, that's a 2R turn. Once again, 2R. And it doesn't matter which way you turn it, clockwise or counterclockwise, because a 180 turn, it's going to end up in the same position in this kind of puzzle. So you could turn it this way as well, it's a 2R. Or if you turn it this way, it's a 2R. And the same goes for all the faces. If you hold the right side steady and you turn the left one twice, it's a 2L, whichever way you turn it. The same way with the top face, you turn it twice, it's a 2U, and the same applies to all other faces. So understanding this, it's important to understand that whenever you do algorithms, you have to hold the cube steady. As you notice, for instance, when I'm making an R turn, I'm holding this part of the cube steady. I'm not turning it in any way. I'm only turning the right face. Or if I'm turning the top, I'm holding the bottom steady. I'm only turning the right face, the top face, I mean. And it's important because if you start turning the cube as you're making turns, you're going to lose your perspective. So yeah, once you're beginning, it might be a bit difficult, but the more you solve and the better you get at it, the easier it gets. Okay, so the first algorithm we're going to learn is basically how to rotate this corner piece in different ways. So basically, it's the algorithm is going to go as follows. So we do a Ri, Di, R, D, Ri, Di, R, D. I'm going to note these algorithms in the description section. So as you see, this piece that was on top, it now flipped in a clockwise fashion. This blue was on top. No, my mistake. In a counterclockwise fashion. My mistake. So this red was on top, and it came here. The blue was on the front, and it came to the right. And the white came from the right going up. It did break up the bottom, but we're not focusing on that because once you do this the set of this algorithm 3 times, it's going to fix the entire bottom. And I'm going to show you again. So let's do it again. Ri, Di, R, D, Ri, Di, R, D. Once again, it flipped this corner piece even further. You can see now the red is over here, and it was over here. The blue went from here to here, and so did the white. It went from here to here and then to here. And so if we do it a 3rd time, it's going to fix this, is going to put this back in its solved state, and it's also going to fix the bottom as well. So once again, that's Ri, Di, R, D, Ri, Di, R, D. Okay, so now let me show you something else. Now let's do this algorithm once on this cube, and then twice on a different one, on this corner, twice on a different one. So once again, holding it like this, Ri, Di, R, D, Ri, Di, R, D. That's one set. Now, while holding the bottom layer steady without moving it, turn the top layer, do a U-turn to bring this corner into place. Now we're going to flip this corner, and we do it again. Ri, Di, R, D, Ri, Di, R, D. And in order to fix the bottom, we have to do this algorithm 3 times. So let's do it again. We could do it on the 3rd corner piece, but I'll just show you on this one again. So Ri, Di, R, D, Ri, Di, R, D. Now we do a UI turn to return this. You see this side is fully solved as it was. The bottom is fully solved. Now these 2 corner pieces, they're in their proper places, but they're flipped wrong. And so this is basically how you flip the corner. If you're like into solving the cube and you end up with this kind of situation where they're all in their proper places, but you need to flip 2 of them, you simply put one, you do the Ri, Di, RD on until it flips it as you need, and then you put the other one in place and you do it as well. So let's do that right now. This is on our top right in the front. Ri, Di, R, D, Ri, Di, R, D. Once again, Ri, Di, R, D, Ri, Di, R, D. Now hold the bottom layer steady without turning it. Simply do a U-turn on the top layer, like that. Put this corner piece in, and now again we do the algorithm. Ri, Di, R, D, Ri, Di, R, and you don't need to do the D in this case, it's already fully solved. So that's the first algorithm that you're going to need to know. The second one is as follows. Now there's different algorithms you could do for this in order to 3-cycle corner pieces on one layer. And I'm going to show you both. I'm going to show you the one that I think is the more beginner one, and that's easier to learn. And then I'm going to show you the other one that's the optional one that I also use. Okay, so the easier one is as follows. What it's going to do, it's going to keep this corner piece in its proper place. This one is going to go here. That one is going to go here. And this one is going to go here. So it's going to 3-cycle them in a counterclockwise fashion. And the algorithm is as follows. U, R, UI, LI, U, RI, UI, L. Now let's look at what happened. See, this one stayed exactly where it was. This one that has a yellow and red belongs over here. And basically it moved over here. And this one which has the yellow, green, and red belongs over here. So as you could see, and this one right here with the white, red, and blue belongs over here. And you could see that because this one has white and blue, so it's the common colors. And so it recycled these corners, and at the bottom is intact, as you could see, and this one is exactly where it was, didn't change its orientation or anything. If we do it again, it's going to recycle them again. So let's do it again. U, R, U, I, L, I, U, R, I, U, I, L. And it recycled them further, once again, in a counterclockwise fashion. And if we do this a third time, it's going to put them all in their proper places. U, R, U, I, L, I, U, R, I, U, I, L. And you can see it solves the cube. So with these two algorithms alone, you could solve the entire cube. And I'm going to do an example solve shortly. And so the third optional algorithm, which if you're a beginner, you do not have to learn this algorithm yet. If you're already more advanced, then this could be helpful for you. What this algorithm does, this third optional one, it also does a 3-cycle, but it does it in a different way, where it appears to swap these two corner pieces. So in other words, these two right here, they're going to stay as they are, in their exact orientation, solved, everything, but these two are going to swap. And it's, like I said, it's actually a 3-cycle, but it appears as if these two are going to swap. And the algorithm for this is as such. So we do a 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R, a UI turn, where you turn the entire puzzle as a 90-degree UI turn, counterclockwise. 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R, and then you do a UI to return it. And as you could see, these two are solved as they were. These two now appear to have swapped. This one has the yellow, green, and red. It belongs over here. And this one has the green, white, and red. It belongs over here. And so they swapped basically. And when you have a situation on the solve, it's kind of easier visually if you see that you have two that you just need to swap, rather than trying to use the other algorithm to 3-cycle them, which could also fix it. But it's then you have to switch positions. In this case, you just simply, swap them through this algorithm, and that's it. So let's fix these two with the same algorithm. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R, UI turn, 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R, UI to fix it, and it's solved. Now let's do an example solve. I'm just going to scramble this cube up, and I'm going to show you how all this works. Now when you solve the first layer, you don't technically need that RIDI algorithm that I showed you in the beginning. I mean, as a beginner, you do need to use it, but once you get good at solving the cube, you don't really need it. You just put the corners in intuitively. But I'm going to show you how to do it while using that algorithm. Okay, so let's start with the green side. You have this green here, orange, and yellow. And so let's see what else we have. So we have this other one that has green and orange. And this one has green and orange. So we know that this one actually belongs here. It's just flipped wrong. And so what we do from this position, we do RIDI RD until it flips it into place. And so as such, RIDI RD RIDI RD RIDI RD RIDI R. And you see, eventually, once you see that it's solved, you move on to the next one. Now, here, we need one that has green and white, because this has a white, so this one piece has to have white. And we see this one right here has green and white, so this one belongs here. And what do we do when it's on the bottom layer, as is in this case? So we turn the cube like this, where it's going to go here, and this is on our top right front. Put that piece underneath where it needs to go on the bottom, and we simply do RIDI RD until it puts it in. RIDI RD RIDI RD RIDI D, R, I, D, I, R, D, R, I, D, I, R. And it puts it in. And now we're up to the last corner piece in that layer, and we see we have it right here with the green. Hold this as our top front right, and put the piece we're going to be putting here underneath where it needs to go, and we do this algorithm. R, I, D, I, R, D, R, I, D, I, R, D, R, I, D, I, R. You see it puts it in. You have to pay attention when it comes in, because you might end up continuing to do RID, RID, and it's going to go back in the bottom. You're going to see, why didn't it go in? So you have to pay attention when that goes in. Now that we have the first layer solved, we turn the cube upside down, and we try to match up either 1, 2, or 4 of the corners to where they belong. And we use this simply colors, the common colors. So for instance, green is on the bottom, blue is going to be opposite, so the blue doesn't really matter. So what we're looking for is the red and white, a cube that has a corner piece that has red and white. And we see this one is already in the proper place because it has red and white, so it needs to go, this is where it needs to be. Let's see if we have any others where they belong. This one has a yellow and red, and this one has white and orange, so this one does not belong here. White and orange, whereas this one has orange and yellow, so this one also does not belong here. And this one has yellow, orange, and this one has red and yellow, so it does not belong here. Now we could try to figure out what kind of situation do we have. For instance, do we have a situation where if we were to flip these two, swap them as we showed that algorithm, the third optional one, it would solve it, or do we need to 3-cycle these three amongst each other? And in this case, we do have to 3-cycle them, and I think we do. Let me just double check. So if we 3-cycle them, then this one is going to go here, which is where it belongs. This one has the orange and white, is going to go here, which is the orange and white, and this one is going to go here. So okay, so if we do that second algorithm that I showed you, the beginner one, and one time it's going to put all of them into their proper places. Now they might not all be oriented properly, that's fine, as long as they put them in their proper places. So holding it with this corner piece that belongs, it is where it belongs, we hold it up here, and from here we do it as follows. U, R, U, I, L, I, U, R, I, U, I, L. And as predicted, you see this one it's also oriented properly, it's where it belongs. So this one is where it belongs, but it's flipped. This one is where it belongs, it's solved. So we have two, they're all in their proper places, but two of them are basically flipped, and we simply do R, I, D, I, R, D until we flip them normally. So we hold it as such, and R, I, D, I, R, D, R, I, D, I, R, D, R, I, D, I, R, D, R, I, D, I, R, D. Now we hold the bottom layer steady. We do 2U to put this corner in position, and then we do it again. R, I, D, I, R, D, R, I, D, I, R, D. And you might have done D and it would have been turned like this or whatever, and you simply fix the bottom layer, as far as the colors with the top layer, and the cube is solved. So that's pretty much it. Hope this tutorial is helpful, and thanks for watching.